There is no glory in the scream of a dying horse. There is no wisdom in a field filled with blood and shattered bronze. We honor the generals who plan the victory, but we fear the force that simply craves the slaughter. The God who does not care who wins the war, as long as the blades stay wet. Myths and legends. Eris. Born from the legitimate union of the King and Queen of Heaven, he should have been the protector of the throne. But from his first breath, his heart beat to the rhythm of a war drum. He was not a god of tactical brilliance or defensive fortitude. He was the raw, untamed apex of physical violence. While his sister Athena shaped the shield wall, measured the line of battle, and turned war into strategy, Ares clothed himself in heavy, blood-spotted copper armor. He chose his companions not from the ranks of scholars or architects, but from the gutter of cosmic terror. Wherever his chariot thundered, he was flanked by Phobos and Deimos, panic and fear, and Eris, the goddess of discord, who walked before him, sowing hatred in the minds of kings. He lived on the fringes of civilization, in the wild mountain fortresses of Thrace, emerging only when the scent of impending slaughter drifted across the plains. Yet for all his terrifying fury, brute strength without intellect is a fragile weapon. The god of war learned this brutal truth, not from an Olympian rival, but at the hands of the twin giant brothers, Otus and Ephialtes. Seeking to overthrow the heavens, these colossal brothers marched upon his territory, their strides shaking the earth. Ares rushed to meet them, his great spear raised to impale the invaders. But the giants did not panic. They closed the distance, wrestled the god of war to the ground with sheer, suffocating mass, and stripped him of his weapon. They did not kill him. They bound him in chains of adamant and forced him into a massive, heavy bronze storage jar. For 13 agonizing months, the god of slaughter was entombed in total darkness, his screams muffled by thick metal walls, while his strength slowly withered away. The war fields of the earth fell silent, deprived of their catalyst. He was only rescued when the messenger god crept through the shadows to tip the jar over, proving to the cosmos that raw, mindless violence can be contained by those who know how to build a prison. His true nature, however, was fully unleashed on the bloody plains of Troy. He did not descend as the guardian of justice. He came where the battle was loudest, where panic fed him, and where slaughter gave his name meaning. When the Greek hero Diomedes drove his chariot into the Trojan lines, Ares descended from Olympus to personally break the warrior. The god of war materialized in the dust, his eyes burning behind his copper helm, throwing his massive spear to pierce the mortal's chest. But the line of battle did not break. Guided by the invisible hand of Athena, Diomedes leaned aside and lunged forward with his own bronze blade. The metal bit deep into the flank of the god. Ares tore the sword from his flesh and let out a roar so horrific that it sounded like 10,000 men screaming at once. He fled the battlefield, retreating to the peaks of Olympus to bleed before his father. But the King of Heaven looked at his wounded son with nothing but contempt, telling him to his face that of all the gods on the mountain, Ares was the most hated, a brute who loved nothing but strife, betrayal, and slaughter. Though despised by his kin, His violence eventually forced the gods to establish one of the oldest mythic foundations of blood justice. The conflict erupted when Areopagus, a son of the Sea Lord, brutalized one of Eris' mortal daughters. The god of war did not seek arbitration. He descended from the clouds like a falling stone, intercepted the prince, and slaughtered him on the spot, leaving the body in the dirt. Furious, the Sea Lord demanded that Eris be punished for spilling divine blood. The gods convened on a rocky hill in Athens to hold the first bloodshed trial in cosmic history. Standing before the council, Eris did not deny the kill. His violence became legally understandable because he acted as a father, fiercely defending his daughter. The gods weighed the evidence and acquitted him, establishing a precedent for justifiable retribution. The rocky hill was named the Areopagus, the Rock of Eris, proving that even the most brutal god could anchor a cornerstone of human law. Now the myth turns inward to face human nature. Eris is the personification of violence without purpose. He is not simply an evil or meaningless monster. He represents the part of war that civilization cannot fully remove. The primal fear, the blind rage, the panic, and the ancient hunger for revenge. He is the terrifying reality of what happens when the thin veneer of our laws tears open and leaves us to butcher one another in the dark. We need his myth because it serves as an eternal warning. Eris is what war becomes when courage loses wisdom. He is the dark, heavy mirror showing us that if we celebrate the slaughter for its own sake, we become the very chaos we claim we are fighting to contain. The god of war sits in the shadows of Thrace, his copper shield dented and stained with rust. The screaming stops, the dust settles, but the blood on the ground is already growing cold. And from the ashes of the ruined field, an intoxicating fragrance is rising, as a goddess of desire steps into the light, ready to conquer the warrior who conquered the world. Myths are not records of the past. They are mirrors of the human mind, passed down, reshaped, and remembered, long after the world that created them disappeared.